Hey there, Emmanuel here. Welcome back to the Tech with Tourist channel. In this one, I want to go over things that you'll learn by using AI agents for software engineering. And these are things that by engaging in what is usually known as agentic coding, you're going to be forced to learn them, and they're going to actually improve your overall experience and things that you know how to do when it comes to software engineering. Now, one thing that is important to mention here is that this is not exclusive to agentic coding, since these are things that you can learn in other kinds of environments, and you'll also be forced to learn them without having to necessarily do agentic coding. And you'll see what I mean by this in just a second with each one of these things. If you want to learn more about using AI agents for software engineering, go to techwithtourist.com/AI. I'll be releasing a live training class next month on how to do AI-driven development. If you're a vibe coder, this is not for you. Instead, it's all about building systems and code bases that help you scale AI agents for software engineering. We'll focus on how to plan, execute, and verify, and how this loop creates an environment that leads to AI agents writing code and features exactly how you want, instead of just hoping for the best. Again, go to techwithtourist.com/AI to save your spot for next month. The first one is something like Git or JJ. This is a VCS or a version control system, which helps us keep track of how code changes over time. We are able to have certain kinds of branches that we are working within for specific features, and you've probably heard about Git if you're watching this video. And another one that actually uses Git under the hood that I'm currently using is JJ. I'm also going to leave a link in the description down below if you want to take a look at it. But by using AI agents, you're going to be forced to actually understand a lot more how to use a version control system, because usually you'll first of all need to keep track of what the AI is doing, and then you'll also want to have the ability to work in parallel on multiple different features and then be able to merge them together and be able to work in that way. Something else that also comes to mind is if you are using something like Git or JJ, you'll also be able to very easily revert mistakes that AI agents might do. And all of these things that I've mentioned are stuff that you are forced to do if you are using agentic coding. Usually, you're also going to be forced to learn these things if you are working within a big team, but that's not the case if you are working within a small team, or especially if you are working solo. All of the work that I've done as a developer was either solo, or even if I was inside of a team, we were simply using Git just to push the changes and keep track of them. But there was no such thing as multiple people working at the same time on the same project. There was a team with different developers within one of my previous jobs, but there wasn't multiple people working on the same project at the same time. So mainly the use case that I had up until I started doing agentic coding for a Git or JJ was to simply keep track of what I was doing, and if I screwed something up, maybe revert those changes, and also to back up the code base, which is something also very important. If something would have happened to my personal computer, I would still have all of my work saved somewhere else. So besides all of these points, or all of these use cases, I should say, there was nothing that compelled me or forced me to actually learn how something like Git actually work under the hood, and maybe even explore all of its capabilities. And now with AI agents, and ever since I started using JJ, I'm doing that a lot more. I'm able to understand how workspaces work. I'm able to understand how revisions work, how rebasing or squashing, all of those kinds of things are workflows that I now am much more familiar with, because I need to have this ability to merge different work that the AI agent is doing. Probably one example that I can remember is, let's say that you have a bunch of different revisions or commits, whatever you want to call them, and you have a list of them, let's say 10 different revisions. Maybe you just want to grab one or two or three different revisions from that that branch or that bookmark, if you're using Git or JJ, and you wanna rebase them or squash them into one commit only, because you only want that specific part of the work that the AI agent did. In that case, you're forced to know how to grab that thing, put it into a different bookmark, a different set of revisions, like insert after, insert before. All of those things are essentially like being forced upon me in this moment because I need to be able to do these things. So I end up basically like becoming much better at version control systems than I ever had before. Ever since, like just to complete this point and this first item, ever since I started doing agentic coding, I became much better, and my understanding of something like Git or JJ has just skyrocketed compared to before. Because, like I said, I only used it to initialize a repo, push to main, and just keep track of how I was doing. And maybe once in a while, like go back 1 week before or 2 weeks before, see how the code base was at that point. Maybe like grab something and like pull it into the current like commit. But besides this, nothing at all that was very complex. So this is something amazing when it comes to agentic coding that you'll be forced to learn. The next one is TDD, or test-driven development. This one, again, it is not exclusive to agentic coding. You have a lot of people that were already doing test-driven development even before agents, but there was not a lot of people, even like there were people, but there weren't a lot of them. That's what I want to say. So like even the amount of people that were writing tests in the first place was like minuscule compared to the amount of developers that existed. And like I remember, even like I said, what at one of my previous jobs, like introducing even the idea of testing a code base and why that was important. At the moment, I think it was just like an end-to-end test, seeing how the features actually worked and ensuring that they worked after making changes to a code base. But now with AI agent, with agentic coding, a lot of developers are seeing that there's value in writing tests, even if you don't necessarily do TDD, meaning you first write the test and then you implement a feature. You still have, I think, a lot of like attention being put on testing and writing tests because of AI agents that was simply not there before, which is something great. Now, the not so great part about this is that the reason people are doing this is because AI agents tend to write sloppy code. They tend to not follow instructions very clearly. They tend to either under implement or over implement something. They either like go all out and just create a bunch of things that weren't even needed in the first place, or they just create something that's lackluster and that doesn't meet the requirements. And with TDD, that sort of fixes the problem, not in every way, but it is something that fixes a lot of, I should say, problems. So yeah, this is again something that you learn by using AI agents. You'll be forced to do so, and it is again something great about it. Next, we have scope management, and this is one that again is also not exclusive to agentic coding. The other scenario where I think this might happen but really never happened to me, to be honest, would be in a enterprise scenario where you have a lot of people working within a team and you have the ability to build a lot of different things. So you don't really like have this. So you essentially, what I want to say is you need to be able to know what the scope is, and you don't want to go outside that scope, because in a enterprise level scenario you have a lot of team members and you can just like start having random ideas. Hey, let's implement this, let's implement that, why not add this feature, why not do that? And very like you're going to see that you're building a lot of things that are not actually like moving the needle. They are not actually helping your users, or basically you're like over building features inside of your application or whatever you're building. And this is now also a problem with AI agents, because we have this ability to tell an AI agents, hey, why not build this thing, and why not build that thing, and why not build another thing? And I find that a lot of times I'm just like having to tell the AI, okay, no, we want this scope, we want the scope to be very clear, we want the scope to like of what we're building to start here and end here, instead of just building a lot of complexity around it that is usually not necessary. The AI agents have this tendency to just say, okay, I want to build a landing page, let's overcomplicate this a lot. They want to add a lot of different things, a lot of different technologies, and let's also build this, build that. So a lot of this boils down to just scope management and knowing, okay, this is something that is important for me to build and I don't want to go outside of that scope. like the example that I just gave you was something that I encountered just a few days ago, or more or less a week ago, where I was building a landing page, and it was something very simple, like a website, a page with text on it and some animations, some stuff like that. And I was seeing that the AI agent was trying to like build a lot of things like on top of it that weren't really necessary. So I think that they usually don't have this ability to like know, okay, this is the thing that I want to build. I want to keep it very like constrained to only this thing that I want to build, and then later we can add stuff on top of it. They usually don't have that like ability to see or think about the future and say, okay, for now we don't really need this, we can add that later. So again, something very important that you're going to learn very fast, and if not, you're going to find yourself just building everything under the sun, and then you're going to realize, okay, maybe I didn't even need to do this, and you're going to spend money on tokens or spend time building it, and you're going to have a bad time as a result. And finally, this is the funniest one, it is writing specs. A lot of people hate writing specs, and it is something that it's becoming more common again. Just like I think in the case of TDD, specs were just something that a lot of developers would not even encounter in the first place. In a lot of projects with small teams or like one person, solo developers, you would simply like think, okay, this is more or less what I want to build. I'm going to start building it, get a sense of how the code base feels, what can be built, what cannot be built. Maybe we would have like a to-do list of items. Okay, I want more or less this thing, but the specificity with like which we create these specs now for AI agents is just something that I would say, I don't know, I'm going to make up a number, but around 98%, 95% of developers would simply never encounter. And we did a 180 on this, and now basically all developers are writing specs for the AI agents, which is something that I'm conflicted about. I think in one way it is great because we are writing the specs, we have this ability to know exactly what we want before, to plan things out with a bit more like care put into it. It also ties a bit into the scope management side of things, because we think, okay, this is what I want to build, I don't want to go outside of this is exactly what I want to do, this is the technologies that I should use. But I think that it still doesn't allow us to have a like good visibility into the code base as we would by doing things by hand with autocomplete, whatever the case might be. And it still is like a level of abstraction on top of the code base that sometimes is not really that useful when it comes to using AI agents. But like what I'm trying to say is that it is not flawless, this idea of writing specs for the AI agents. And again, this was something very like common in the enterprise level environments, because if you had a big team, you couldn't simply rely on the fact that that one developer is going to do the right thing. You didn't necessarily have like a one-to-one communication with them, so you wanted to ensure that you were spending time building the right thing. So you would spend a lot of time like planning things and then getting into the development side of things. But that was just something that happened in enterprise level companies, and not, like I said, with small teams, because small teams were much more like fast, they move faster, which again might be, I think, a better thing, especially outside of this context of AI agents, but that's beside the point. So yeah, these are the 4 things that you're going to be forced to learn by using AI agents, and there's stuff that I think at the end of the day are going to make us better software engineers. And if you've been doing agentic coding, you've probably encountered these things yourself, like the fact that you're using Git a lot more and thinking about like the version control side of things a lot more. You're writing more tests because you want to ensure that the AI agents are doing the right thing. You are trying to not like build everything under the sun and keeping like managing the scope. And finally, I'm pretty sure, like 100% sure, that writing specs is something that you've done a lot more if you're using AI agents. So this is it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and let me know in the comments below what you think of them, these things, and if there's one particular one that you've become better at and actually made you a better software engineer. And I'll see you on the next video.